Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Bosley, and I'm the principal at Southern Door High School. And I'd like to start off today with this quote. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. This quote was taken from the 1973 graduation ceremony program, and I feel it is still appropriate today. I'd like to welcome students, staff, community members, and honored guests, Dennis and Becky Tremble, Dr. Janine Remy, Dr. William Bill Miller, and John and Polly Alberts. I'd like to welcome everyone to our first annual Hall of Fame recognition ceremony. We are here today to listen, learn, and be inspired by the accomplishments of all our Hall of Fame inductees. Our inductees were in your shoes 30 years ago, or more. That may seem like an eternity for some of you, but you will find that time slips by in the blink of an eye, and you too will soon be celebrating your alumni status and reunions of 10, 20, or 30 years. Our inductees are being recognized for their outstanding accomplishments. The common thread that we all share is that our roots are embedded in Southern Door School District. It all started here. And as we keep that in mind, our respective journeys, it all began in the same place. Though our school physically looks different to those that are returning and to the honorees, the beliefs of hard work and perseverance are the values that remain embedded in our core practice. In our current setting, we celebrate that we are an outstanding school. We have an outstanding graduation rate. Our graduation rate was 100% last year. We celebrate being one of the leading schools in our conference in the performance of ACT. We celebrate that when every child leaves our school, that they have a plan and options for the future. Whether you are one of the 65% of the students that attend a 2- or 4-year school, or one of the 16% that enter the military, or one of the 19% that enter the workforce. We also celebrate our recognition as being one of the best high schools in the state and nation, as reported by U.S. News and World Report and Newsweek. And to the students, I have a question. The question I have for you is, who among you will be on this stage in 30 years from now, reassuring the graduates and underclassmen that the future is theirs to create and to take hold of? Who among you will be the next nationally known researcher? Who among you will be the next innovative engineer and inventor? Who among you will be the accomplished musician? Who among you will be the next leader in your community, state, or nation? Who among you? We recognize that we're on a journey. What makes the journey great is the success and accomplishments we have after we have endured difficult times. Southern Door has had its share of difficult times. However, maintaining a sharp focus on the importance of meeting the needs of our students continues to be our #1 priority. Today, we celebrate 51 years of tradition and educational excellence. Please join me in recognizing Brandy Hernandez, soon-to-be graduate and alumni, our Mistress of Ceremony for our first annual Southern Door Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Mr. Bosley. On behalf of the students, staff, and community here at Southern Door, I would like to welcome all our guests. Students, as you're listening to all the alumni that will be honored today, keep in mind that this could be you in 10 or 20 years. Make it a goal of yours to accomplish as much as you can in your life and to succeed in whatever career path you choose. Please stand as we welcome the Southern Door Senior Quartet of Brittany Hallett, Jordan Lenius, Kara Rauer, and Luke Spoody to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It is so great that you all were able to join us today for the very first Alumni Hall of Fame ceremony. The idea to recognize outstanding alumni came from several staff and community members about a year ago. A committee was organized last summer, and here is the Alumni Hall of Fame Committee chairperson, Mrs. Kathy Bosman, to share what happened next.
It's a lot different seeing all of you students in the hall, a few at a time, than seeing all of you in front of me. As Brandy shared with you, this idea actually came out of our education summit, as well as the volunteers for how the committee was formed. At this time, I would like to recognize our committee members, and if they would stand when I call your name, and then just hold your applause until everybody's name has been called. Our community members were Father Tony Bertzel, Bill Schudler, Sherry Reederer. Staff members were Steve Bosley, Barb Schreiner-Schmidt, myself, and Patty Bickman. This has been a project that started last summer. We decided to focus our search on alumni who had graduated 30 or more years from Southern Door High School. It just so happens that I am an alumni, and it has been more than 30 years for myself. We asked the community to identify individuals who had distinguished themselves in their profession or their career. By honoring these outstanding individuals, we wanted to identify for our students some Southern Door graduates that have made significant contributions at the local, state, and national levels. Applications were viewed by individual committee members. We had a rubric scale. So individually, we went through the applications, and then the points were tallied, and the top individuals are who we are recognizing today. They were notified in early March of their selection to the Hall of Fame, and they are here today to be honored for that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bosman. I can't wait to meet our new honorees, but before we do, let's take a little trip back in time and see what they were like when they were in high school. Well, that was a lot of fun. Some things looked pretty different 30 years ago, and yet some things are very much the same. At this time, I would like to invite Mrs. Schreiner-Schmidt up to tell us about the school's gift to our honorees.
Thanks, Brandy. As an entire school community, we wanted to do something that was unique to recognize these very distinguished individuals. Thus, the art department, under my direction and that of my colleagues, Ernest Butel and George Ouimet, had our students work together to create a group mosaic value drawing. Now, this project combines a variety of art skills, allowing many students to work together, and they combine all their creative efforts. A photo is chosen that has a strong variation in values or shading, such as this one. And this allows for those differences between black and white to be worked on as the students will be recreating those values. The teacher prepares the project by dividing the photo into a grid of squares. These were only a ½ inch by ½ an inch. You can see that's very tiny. And they're all numbered. That's our help to reassemble it. And then all these squares are randomly picked by the students, and they just see this small little tiny square with all this different grays on it, and so they replicate it on a larger 2-inch square. They're going to follow the lines, the shapes, and complete each square matching those values with graphite, which is pencil. And then the teacher and students work together to reassemble the squares on a larger grid, and the final image is revealed. Each student's squares are all connecting. It's just like a puzzle with those of their peers in the class. The artwork really does have the look of a tile or mosaic, and it gives everybody involved, the students, real satisfaction when they realize the importance of each little piece as they contribute to the whole artwork. So this little tiny 8.5 by 11 actually turned out to be this size. You see the entire piece together. The final artwork for this project then was photographed, and it's now mounted on a plaque for the Alumni Hall of Fame. It will be located in the Eagle Hallway by the Eagle Gym, so a new area is going to be created. And the replica, we're going to have a smaller replica that each honoree will be receiving from 2 of the students that were part of this group. The original renditions, this one and the other ones, will be in the library, so you can check out that display and see the actual artwork. A very special thank you to all of our students for the gift of their time and their talent, my colleagues for all their extra time and talent as well, to recognize today's special honorees. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mrs. Schreiner-Schmidt. That is certainly a neat way for our school to show our appreciation, kind of a labor of love. At this time, we would like to get started with the recognition of our honorees. As I call your name, would you please come up on the stage and have a seat at the table? At the table on my right, could we please have Dr. Janine Remy and Dennis and Becky Tremble. And then at the table on my left, could we please have Dr. William Myler and John and Polly Alberts. Let's start with our first honorees, which will be presented by Luke Spooty. Luke is a scholar athlete and was High School Choral Student of the Year. He plans to study nursing at Marian College in Fond du Lac. Luke will be accompanied by our art students, Alyssa Kiefer and Dimitri Seminar.
At this time, it is my honor to induct my good friends John and Polly Alberts, the class of 1978 and 1981, for recognition in the category of Business and Community Service. John and Polly Alberts are lifelong residents of Southern Door County community. Their family-owned business of Alberts Plastering manages up to 125 full-time employees. It also provides part-time seasonal work for high school and college students. Alberts Plastering was recognized as one of the Door County Economic Development Corporation's Industries of the Year. As a business, John and Polly helped sponsor the Door Kiwani Business Education Partnerships Home Construction Project. This project provides an opportunity for high school students from Southern Door and other neighboring districts to earn NWTC credits through this real-life work experience. The Alberts have made contributions to the community with their time, talent, and treasure. John and Polly are both actively involved in their church. John has coached and helped manage youth and adult sports teams. Polly chaired Southern Door's 50th Anniversary Celebration Committee and currently serves on the Board of Education. When the Southern Door School District needed assistance with special projects in 2001, both John and Polly established the Southern Door Community Foundation. The foundation has provided significant funding to many school projects. Most recently, under their leadership, the foundation has provided funding for classroom technology, the new bleacher project, the Partners in Health Community Walking Trail, and many others. The Alberts are generous in their support of many local needs, from the arts and athletics to the Lions Clubs, Habitat for Humanity, and the local fire department and emergency services, just to name a few. In her nomination of John and Polly, Sherry Reeder wrote, "They are successful because of hard work and determination. They are deeply committed to this community and in their quiet way have made a major impact on the lives of many. It is for this reason that we are honored to welcome John and Polly Alberts as members of the class of 2013 in the Southern Door Alumni Hall of Fame." Congratulations, John and Polly.
This moment. I would really like to thank the committee for the wonderful PowerPoint picture show. That was a very nice surprise. I don't know if any of you realized we did have our superintendent in one or two of those shots as well. I don't know if you noticed, if you caught on to that, but ha to you too. John and I are both going to speak because even though we move as one quite often, we are both quite different people, as most of you all know that. At this time, I want to thank the committee and the school for this honor. It takes a lot to get something new started, and I appreciate the effort involved with that. I want to thank my parents for instilling a solid foundation in me, a foundation that includes a strong work ethic, selflessness, and concern for others. I want to thank my husband and my kids. They've supported me in everything, and I mean everything. Whether it was, let's just leave it at that, but they're very supportive of that, no matter what I'm up to. I would like to take this time to mention a few teachers. I had a lot of great teachers over the years, but there's a couple that just kind of hung in there with me. I believe it was first grade in the little school of Victory in Forestville. We had fight a lot of times down in the basement, which was kind of dungeony anyway, so that was a little disturbing, but then in comes Mr. Robert Kinzinger. Love him, hate him, you know, we were there dealing with him. And he almost made me not want to come to school on FIAD days, but we got past that and had a lot of great times together. He taught me a lot about different things. Not only was he concerned with FIAD, but he was also concerned with spelling. The community liked to pronounce his name Kinzinger, which we all knew was not correct. And certain times of the year, we had our spelling test with the Kinziger. But that was a great life lesson. We probably didn't even know it at the time. We just thought this guy was just a little whack. But it spoke a lot, and it taught me a lot about things, respect, detail, attention to detail. We occasionally get mail at the office that has Albert ''S. Freaks us out too, so I know where the guy was coming from now. So he taught us a lot about that. The other thing that he liked to do was have the girls race the boys. Now you'd think, oh, no big deal. But you know what? It taught me to go out and compete. It gave me great confidence. It told me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. I didn't have to be hampered because I was a girl, a guy, or whatever. We just went out and ran. That lasted only until about 8th grade. We started to tie up. You know, mostly the girls would beat the boys prior to 8th grade. But then after that, both sides had different things that we were thinking about. We didn't really want to be racing each other. But again, another life lesson. You know, the whole thing about competition, the whole thing about moving on in your life with your different lifestyles. I have a lot of great respect for Mr. Kinzinger. We stay in touch still today. I want to thank Mr. Fett. Had a real hard year, 4th grade year. We had a family tragedy the summer going into that year. I didn't want to go to school. He was more bound and determined to get me to like school. He worked very diligently and hard, and I really, really appreciate the effort he put into that. And I ended up liking school again, so that was a great thing. I want to mention Mike and Mary Billadou, high school teachers. Mary gave me my first taste of accounting, number crunching, and doing that kind of stuff. That was all very good and exciting. Office practice stuff helped me a lot as I moved on through my career. And Mike just made school fun. The Paulick sisters and some of the other stuff that you would say to us while we were in school, he did a great job. The two of them together created a confidence in me that I still carry on today, both in my professional and personal life. So I want to thank them as well. Then, I want to focus a little bit on some advice that I'd like to pass along to you students as you continue your education here at Southern Door. The work you do today will affect the work you do tomorrow. Be ready for your opportunities. When I applied for my first job, the big joke at the place was, you got hired because of your legs. Well, everyone knows that under current conditions, not politically correct, even if you want to do it, you're certainly not going to say that, but that was always kind of the joke early on. As I worked through my career with the basics that I had gotten out of Southern Door, they knew that they didn't just hire my legs. They got something else. And I made use of every skill that I had gotten through the school here to continue on in that endeavor. It was a great learning process for the next step of my life. So it's just take every opportunity that you can to learn something new and to grow and do. For those of you that are getting ready to leave, find your passion. If you have a passion and you live your passion, work won't seem like work. You can enjoy every day of your life, and life will be very satisfying for you. So live your passion. Then it just so happened I was doing some decorating at the cottage. I needed some stuff to go on my walls, and so you're just looking for things. And I stumbled across this nice little print with some leaves on it. I had leaves on my flooring, so I needed to have some leaves. But the most important part about that print was a quote from Helen Keller. For the kids that maybe don't know Helen Keller, Google her later and you'll find out she was a pretty amazing person. But the quote that inspired me goes like this: I'm only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do. Southern Door students, go out and do the something you can do. Thank you.
When I talked to Polly in 3 days, she said that she didn't want to see anything I was going to say and that she was going first. So she must have thought I was going to steal something. But I want to thank the committee and congratulate Southern Door on their new Hall of Fame. Anytime you do something for the first time, though, there's some kinks you got to get worked out. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, there was a really bad kink. That was not me in those pictures. You don't see a mustache, do you? I'll give you a minute to make the hair comment, then we'll move on. Okay. I'm not going to talk much about the daily operations of Albert's Plastering, except for I just want to say that we continue to work all over the state of Wisconsin with an emphasis of an hour-and-a-half radius of our shop. Now, some of you kids are pretty sharp. An hour and a half that way puts us in the water. But sometimes we go to Washington Island, but on a daily basis, it's Sheboygan, Oshkosh, and in between. And one of our most silent accomplishments is that the national manufacturers have and continue to work with me personally and my team on designing new products. So this little business in Brussels, Wisconsin is designing products that are used nationwide, and we take a lot of pride in that. And I mention that because your teachers have these silent accomplishments every day. They plant seeds to you kids for 180 days in hopes and knowing and believing that those seeds are going to sprout someday. And they may never see it, but they know they will sprout. Like most of you, Polly and I come from humble beginnings. My mom and dad running a small family construction business, Polly growing up on a farm, her mom and dad both working out of the home besides. The definition of humble is to accept one's shortcomings or to lower in condition or rank. No truer was that to me when I was in 8th grade and my friends were all going roller skating on Saturday night, and I had told my mom and dad and they said I could go. But when Saturday came, I told them I needed $2 to go. And my dad reached in his pocket and my mom and dad looked at me and they said, "We don't have any money." My dad showed me less than $1 in coins in his hand. And I learned a lot about business that day because I asked questions, why don't we have any money? And they explained to me, well, they had to pay all the men, all the bills were paid, all the materials paid, and we got money coming, but we only have just a couple of coins. And I know my friends would have paid my $2, but again, we were too humble to ask. A favorite author of mine recently wrote, 50% of career success is determined by your education. The other 50% comes from what you learn and the people you meet when you're not in school. Another author writes, if you're the smartest one in your group of friends, find new friends or add to your friends as so to challenge yourself. My mom and dad's foundation of keeping Albert's Plastering alive, along with Polly's education that she talked about and her experience in banking, mixed with these humble beginnings and our passion for our work, truly have been a winning formula for us. That and surrounding ourselves with good people laid a foundation for our success. Make no mistake about it, Polly and I received the award today, but we're only as good as our employees. Not as many people went to college in 1978 as go now. Southern Door allowed me to have work study. I don't believe they have that program anymore, but I worked for my dad till noon and I came to school in the afternoon. Oftentimes very tired. But it helped me determine my career path because I did investigate going to college. And my dad had sat me down and he said, if you want to go to college, you can go. But if you want to stay and work with me, I would really like that. And he didn't have a very good story to tell. He said that there's always somebody with a leaky roof that'll need their plaster fixed, or there'll be a hospital that needs plastering. You should always be able to find work somewhere. And I told my girlfriend at the time, she was a freshman in high school back then, hey, weren't you a freshman when I was a senior? I said, I'm going to give that man my right arm till the day he dies. And my dad passed away unexpectedly in 1991, just as his quality of life was getting better. I'd like to just share a few tools with you students that have helped me in my career and running a business. Polly mentioned passion. I've always had a passion for what I do. I used to eat, drink, and sleep plastering. That's all I did. I had a lot of fun when I wasn't at work, but it's like McDonald's sells hamburgers. You can't get a pizza at McDonald's. We did plastering, and we did it often. Our goal has been and still is today, always to be the best trade for that job. If your mom and dad hire me, I want to be the best trade that they hired. If it's a contractor building a motel, every day we want to be the best trade on that job, and my employees know that's our goal every day they leave the shop. Realizing and recognizing everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Accept people for who they are and don't put too much pressure on them. This is true in life as well as work. Keep God in every relationship. I find it a coincidence that Father Bertzel is on the committee. Keep God in every relationship, because if nothing else, you'll always have somebody to talk to and somebody to lean on. And if you keep your mind and your heart open, you'll hear and you'll receive responses. It's always been a philosophy at Albert's Plastering on a daily basis also. Accessibility, personability, and responsibility. Accessibility, be available. Personability, your interactions with somebody. I like to tell you, people, leave people better than you find them. If you talk to somebody in the hall, set your goal that they feel better after you walked away than they did before you walked up to them. Responsibility, be responsible for your actions. Looking back recently at how we survived these tough economic times, I knew we were living this, but I guess I just didn't realize what it meant. But if there's one thing that I say today that if I could only have one thing that I would say to you, I would tell you this. Communication is the key to relationships, and relationships are the key to success. Communication is the key to relationships, and relationships are the key to success. I couldn't think of one business that could survive and thrive without repeat business. And friendships are the same way. Southern Door is a humble, simple community. Recently, I had dinner with two young women. To you students, they're old. They were like 30. But depending who you talk to, they were really young. And they said to me, it's kind of funny. We couldn't wait to get out of Southern Door. We couldn't wait to get out of Brussels. And we couldn't wait to get in the real world and start living. And now we only hope and dream that we can come back and work and live it in our community. We were mistaken. We so want to live here again. When I was a senior in high school, one of the last days of school, there was a first-year teacher here, and she said to me, John, I'd really like you to come back and see me in 5 years. And I felt pretty good about that. That was that guy in those slides before. And I felt really good, and I said, can I ask you why? She said, yeah, because I want to see if you grew up yet. And I wish I could see her today, because I'd be able to tell her that I'm a little wiser, but I still haven't grown up yet. I'm the same guy I was. And finally, I found in life that some of the most beautiful things are accomplished by taking baby steps. Whatever you do to put yourself in a position to succeed, it won't happen overnight. Stay humble, be on the lookout for opportunities, find your passion, and be compassionate to those around you. Thank a teacher, because they are here because they care about you. Hug your parents, because no one can ever love you like your parents do, especially your mother. Magical things can happen. When we were first contacted about this award by the committee and Mrs. Vickman, we were told that we could invite some guests. And the first thing that came to my mind is I sure wish my dad could be here. And for the last couple of years, my mom was sick. And last August, almost a year ago now, the doctors told us there was nothing more they could do for her, and they were sending her home pretty much to die. And they had hospice come come in. Hospice is an organization that comes in and keeps you comfortable in your final weeks and days that you can pass away at home. And they put a morphine bag in her china hutch for her final days. And that was last August, and we basically had a living funeral. The family all came, and we talked about God, and she said she was ready to go. She had a son that died when she was 2 years old, and she was looking forward to seeing him. And I want to tell you today that magical things do happen, because that morphine bag is still in the hutch. And I'd like to introduce you one of the two founders of Albert's Plastering Incorporated that would not exist without him, my mother. Can you stand up now? So thank you again. Polly and I have always been proud of our Southern Door education, and we hope we can always continue to give back to the community. Enjoy your journeys, kids, and God bless you all.
Again, congratulations to John and Polly Alberts. Our next honoree will be presented by Austin Dowse. Austin is our class salutatorian and plans to attend St. Norbert College, where he will major in biology and music, with plans to go on to medical school after that. Austin will be accompanied by art students Haley Sheets and Carly Colstead.
I have the privilege this morning of presenting just a few of the profound reasons why Dr. William Bill Mueller, class of 1971, is being inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame today. I'm proud to be able to share but a short glimpse into the reasons why he is here for all of you this morning. Dr. Bill Mueller is professor and vice chairman of the Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences at the University of Illinois in Chicago, Illinois. He has 10 different office locations in his practice. Dr. Mueller received his Doctorate of Medicine degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Mueller has had a long and distinguished career as an expert in treating diseases of the macula, retina, and vitreous. His primary research interests are ocular pharmacology, exploring drug therapies, and the treatment of intraocular tumors. Dr. Mueller has authored more than 315 scientific papers and 65 book chapters. He has edited 5 textbooks and serves on the editorial board of more than 10 professional journals. It's quite the accomplishment. He also conducts national clinical trials in the treatment of choroidal neovascularization and diabetic macular edema. Did I get that? I had to phonetically write that up. I got it. Yeah. Maybe I'll probably be dealing with those words soon. I don't know. Dr. Mueller has led the American Board of Ophthalmology as its director, vice chair, and chair, and he has served as the president of the Macula Society. He has held numerous leadership positions on state and national boards, including the American Board of Ophthalmology. Dr. Mueller is a specialist whose high level of medical skill and expertise has earned him recognition by his peers as one of the top cancer doctors in the country. Dr. Mueller was nominated by 2 different individuals for this Alumni Award. Former Southern Door math teacher Len Zitlow said that Bill was one of the best students he ever had in 37 years of teaching. That's quite the statement coming from him. Cindy Wick shared that as a result of his distinguished career, he has received both the Lifelong Education for Ophthalmologist Award and the Life Achievement Award from the American Academy of Ophthalmology. Dr. Bill Mueller is an excellent example of a Southern Door graduate whose passion for learning led to a cause beyond himself. His expertise in research has continued to impact the medical profession and ultimately the well-being of mankind. For these reasons, we are honored to welcome Dr. William Bill Mueller as a member of the class of 2013 in the Southern Door Alumni Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
you very much. It truly is a pleasure to be here. My wife Jennifer has always said I must have been a real dork in high school. I think you've seen the pictures now, she has proof. But I sincerely want to thank the Southern Door County High School District, Ms. Patty Vickman, and all the members of the committee. I was really pleasantly surprised to receive this news, and it's truly an honor to be back here at Southern Door High School. I haven't been back for 40 years. My travels, of course, have taken me many places, but it truly is great to be back. And I want to congratulate the school on being ranked as the 14th best high school by the 2012 U.S. News and World Report in terms of preparing students for advanced education. That's really a wonderful honor for the school system, so congratulations. A couple of people are here that I want to thank also. Mr. Len Zitlow, if you could stand up. Was already recognized. One of the individuals who nominated me for this award, and I thank you very much. Mr. Zitlow was an extraordinary teacher. At the time I was here in school from 67 to 71. Certain courses weren't even offered, and he took the time to tutor me through advanced mathematics, and it has been sincerely appreciated. It certainly has helped me to move on to college and beyond, so for that I thank you very much. I also want to thank Al Brightlow, who is here. Al? Biology teacher, athletics coach, and once again helping to shape my career not only academically but also through athletics. And he also was kind enough to advise me that baseball really shouldn't be my long-term career. So I appreciate that as well. My wife Jennifer is here. Jennifer is a biomedical engineer, college professor in Chicago. Jennifer? I have to admit that she makes me feel to be the dumb person in the family, but I'm supportive of your help and your incredible understanding throughout the years, so thank you very much. My sister Cindy and her husband Tim are here. Cindy and Tim. And thank you once again also for nominating me for this award. And Cindy and Tim have been away from the county for a number of years, but they're now back here as permanent residents of Sturgeon Bay. When I was asked to give a short speech for the school, I really wondered what I could say that would be meaningful. I really didn't know quite what I wanted to do post-high school, but people often ask me, how did I choose to become a physician? Other than having interest in science and mathematics, there was really no obvious reason. Great parents, wonderful role models, by today's standards, relatively simple life, but truly incredible people. And of course, my sister Cindy, and also an excellent role model. Cindy, thank you. I also had an uncle at the University of Wisconsin who was a physiology professor. He certainly influenced me, and an older cousin, Tom Burns, who also is an alumni here from Southern Door, who became an interventional radiologist in Milwaukee. So certainly some medicine came into our family via that route. One thing though I did recognize was the need for a very solid education and arming oneself with knowledge. Today, of course, students have a phenomenal means of accessing virtually any kind of information via the internet. We, of course, didn't have that when things, back in so-called my time frame. But I eventually became interested in medicine, and eye surgery in particular. The road to getting where I am, of course, was quite long. If you recognize post-high school, it was 15 more years of training and education. 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, a year internship, 3 years of ophthalmology training, 2 years of subspecialty vitreoretinal surgery training, and 1 year of being chief resident. Each step is more competitive. Oftentimes you're basically working to secure 1 or 2 positions on a national level. So the level of competition, of course, just rises dramatically as you leave high school. Recognize, though, that certainly it was worth the sacrifice and worth the effort. Recognize, though, that if you take this route, certainly many material things that your friends have out of high school or college, you won't have right away. So you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, but believe me, it's well worth the effort in the long run. Work, isn't really work. It should be fun. And when I go to work, I have to admit that I don't think of it as work. I think of it as being really a great time. No doubt that it's hard, but yet each day is different for me. It's incredibly gratifying to work with patients in need. To be able to potentially restore vision to patients is an incredibly wonderful thing to be able to partake in, and I'm certainly very appreciative of that. Most importantly for you as students, don't waste any potential, because don't underestimate your ability to accomplish and achieve a wide variety of goals. Just as important as education, enjoy life. You have to be as passionate of things outside of work as you are your actual work itself. While my wife and I both work very hard, our free time is highly protected, and it's just as important and essential. For us, it's mountain climbing, photography, opportunities to travel the world and enjoy a variety of diverse cultures, and certainly hopefully you can enjoy those things in future years as well. Trying to achieve a reasonable balance in life is essential, yet oftentimes quite difficult, because many things will inflict demands upon your limited time. So in summary, I'm very proud to list Southern Door High School on my resume. While here, from the student standpoint, take advantage of your excellent teachers. Recognize that high school is just one step en route to a successful and satisfying career. Work hard. Recognize that all future education and job opportunities are competitive, and yet enjoy life. I wish all of you successful careers, and I want to thank everyone once again for being included in the initial class, alumni class of the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
Thank you, Dr. Myler. At this time, we would like to take a little break and feature some of our high school musicians. Please sit back and enjoy some selections by the Southern Door Instrumental and local jazz ensembles. Let's give those students a round of applause again. Our next honoree will be presented by Kara Rauer. Kara plans to attend the Lawrence Conservatory of Music, where she will major in flute performance. Kara will be accompanied by art students Arina Becker and Michael Bitron.
Hello. I am honored and proud to introduce Dr. Janine Remy here for Performance and Music Education. Dr. Janine Remy is professor in the Department of Creative and Festival Arts at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, Trinidad. She's a music lecturer, percussionist and steel pan player, and composer, arranger, and conductor. After teaching at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh and then Idaho State University, Dr. Remy fell in love with Trinidad while doing research for her doctorate. In 2003, she received a J. William Fulbright grant to return as a professor in Trinidad. She sold her home, gave up a great teaching job, and moved her family and her instruments from the United States. Trinidad has been her home for the past 10 years. In Trinidad, Dr. Remy became the first foreign female arranger for large conventional steel bands and won the Panorama competition. She continues to be an active composer, arranger, adjudicator, and music commentator in cultural music. As a performer, her credits include a DVD, several CDs, and concert soloist and clinician. As a composer, she published several pieces and arranged over 200 others. Dr. Remy has authored a book on Panorama, as well as many articles in professional percussionist magazines. She's a featured speaker at international symposiums in arts education. She still keeps in touch with her band director from Southern Door, Roger Rosnowski, who said she is very deserving of any accolades that she receives. I have kept in contact with her all these years and still use her as the ultimate yardstick for measuring the quality of a percussionist. She's the best. Dr. Janine Remy is an example of a Southern Door graduate whose passion for her music led her to accomplish things others could only dream of. Her performance, expertise, and her love of steel pan music has truly bridged cultures wherever she has lived. We are honored to welcome Dr. Janine Remy as a member of the class of 2013 in the Southern Door Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much, and thank you band and choir for wonderful performance. I almost jumped back there, close. Again, thank you to the superintendent, Mrs. Patricia Vickman, members of the school board, past and present teachers, family, friends, and of course, all of you students. It really is an honor to be here today. I feel very privileged because I know there are so many prestigious alumni out there, and I can only say that the selection process must have been a lot of fun to research. I have been asked to talk to you about two main things today, to give you advice and to talk to you about how my time here helped prepare me for my future, but I think I will also tell you some things I'm not supposed to tell you. I'll save that for last. All right. What type of advice I give students? I think as students, and you probably know this already, you should have continuous academic advising to ensure that you are on track with the requirements for graduation from high school and or entrance into college, technical school, or other future career choices. Keep track of your requirements both in secondary school and future tertiary school options. Bear in mind that this will be different, as not everyone has the same career choices. Of course, you should maintain good grades, ask questions, and do your homework. Yes, homework. Have good work ethics. Teachers will be able to assist you better if they see you have a good attitude and see that you are trying. Showing that you are trying helps the teacher know where your weaknesses are, and they will work with you to strengthen them. Participate in extracurricular activities. Many life lessons are learned by taking part in sports, pep band, musicals, etc. Make a statement in life, set goals, and challenge yourself to excel and make a difference. Each and every student here has the ability to succeed if they put their heart and soul into conquering their goals. The real world starts when you walk out of this door and graduate. My motto has always been sink or swim. Success takes hard work. It's how you handle your failures and pick yourself up that make you a better person. Learn from your mistakes and don't be afraid to try new things. The test of your educational preparation comes when you leave here. It becomes a measuring stick as a comparison to others your age trying to do the same thing. Your actions and your achievements will reflect the future credibility of this school. Now, some of the things that helped prepare me as being a student to my career choices, I had to think about this. Is a very hard question. But as I reflect back on my time here at Southern Door, I really did do my homework. I had good study skills and I maintained a good academic standing. I took part in extracurricular activities such as gymnastics, solo and ensemble competitions, musicals, and choir. I had very good family support. I had an awareness of what was expected of me to succeed. I took some college prep courses, but as I reflect back now, they could have been a little better. One of the most useful classes I took was in summer school. It was typing, something that I've used my entire life. I also remember some life skills lectures from various community people who came to talk about a variety of subjects. This was especially good for those not continuing their education upon graduation. But the teachers are really the key to success. I had some good ones and I had some bad ones, I wouldn't lie. But really, I think you learn, for me, you learn by how you see others teach and do. And if they don't do so well, you learn by that as well. So now for some of the things I'm not supposed to tell you. Some of the funny things that have happened to me after Southern Door and during Southern Door. All right. When people from other parts of the world hear me speak, they always wonder where I'm from. And I don't think I can ever get rid of my Midwest accent, although in Trinidad, we sometimes put the accent, the emphasis on different syllables. And I noticed that one in the introduction, it's St. Augustine, not St. Augustine, but it's just the way we say things. So I've really never lost my accent, but I am constantly reminded of the local colloquialisms every time I return here. Arriving back to Door County to visit my parents one summer, we stopped in Dykesville to get some ice cream at that place that was famous for its special kind of ice cream. It was before the new highway was built, so it wasn't really out of the way. We sat down at a table and the waitress came over. "What would yous like?" Well, if I hadn't gone to school, I would never have known what was wrong with that question. So I replied back to the waitress, "One less S, please." And I got a dirty look from my mom, who's probably sinking in her chair right now, across the table, but the waitress didn't really know what was wrong. Aha! The use and abuse of use. But how did I survive Southern Door? I started off in country schools until 5th grade and eventually moved over to the new school, which are now connected, where there were more than just 2 classes in one place and there were no dividing walls. But just to get to school was an hour bus ride each way. I wonder if it still is that way. This was before iPods and such. So what to do? I would mostly study on the bus and even practice because I was a drummer. I would carry my drumsticks and I would drum on the seat in front of me. But I, unlike of course my sister, I would always have a stack of books which I would study on the bus and at home. This was before kids carried backpacks. I was real competitive and I had to ace all my exams, so I practically emptied out my locker each night. Our bus driver was Ernie Ponceloff. And to me, he seemed really old. But apparently he wasn't that old, just missing teeth and always calling my dad to tow him out of the ditch. Countless times that yellow bus had trouble staying on the road. He would watch us with his mirror over his head, and one day he had to pull over and stop the bus because of me. Yes, me. He said, "Big Jeannie, I've seen it all." Meaning he had witnessed something that meant someone was going to the principal's office. It was common practice that as the bus emptied out, kids put their belongings on another seat to have more room, of course. I had just put my stack of books on the seat in front of me, and the bully boy didn't like that. In one arm sweep, he would have all of my books on the floor. And as you know, the bus has a way of tie-dyeing your books in various shades of liquidy, dirty substance. Anyway, after several times of him dumping my books on the floor, I surprised him. I jumped in the seat and beat him up to the point of tears. I thought for sure I was the one that was going to get in trouble, so I sank down in my seat as the bus came to a stop. Turns out Ernie had really seen it all. The poor boy was never the same again. And for years after, the story of him being beaten up by a girl changed him. So that's one story. The next story was from freshman science class. For some reason, I could never catch on to it all, but Mr. Spetz always had multiple choice questions on his exam, so sometimes I had to guess. I confess to that. But I do apologize for setting my table on fire with a Bunsen burner. Not. Now, as for the skid marks around the corners, I thought it would be fun to ride my bike in the hallway one summer after band practice. And one more confession. I superglued one of my band director's chairs to the floor. When he got up to move, all the tiles came up instead. Yeah. One has to remember that if you were caught doing something wrong, there was always Mr. Van Lieshout, standing with his arms crossed, waiting for you the next day. I see he's here now today. Sorry. As one would walk the halls, he would simply point to you, and it wasn't his index finger because he was missing that one. And that meant in my office now. I can't remember getting caught, but for anything, but I know my brother, who's sitting in the front row, turned off all of the lights during a basketball game that was aired over the radio. Before the new addition was built, the band, the choirs, and the art classes were all upstairs above the gym. Although I did not spend more than 1 or 2 years in the new addition, I remember the art room, its radio blasting, and suddenly the ceiling tiling moving. Mr. Anderson, the art teacher, looked dumbfounded as the ceiling tile suddenly began to move away, and then a head came out upside down. It was Jeff Poe. He profusely apologized and said he had taken a wrong turn. Knowing Jeff Poe, he was a highly highly intelligent class clown who I remember would sleep outside in a lawn chair when it was snowing just to, I don't know, condition himself. And as for the main reason I am here, I made music my life, and being a female percussionist is not always the easiest thing. I've had some real hard knocks in life. Competition has not really been easy, especially towards women in my profession. But again, every time I would fail or fall down, I would get back up and do it 10 times better until finally I got somewhere. And I have one person to thank for that, and I would like him to stand, Mr. Roger Rosnowski. He was my best teacher. And when he left my freshman year, I was devastated. But things always happen for a reason, and just today, I found out why he left. I went through countless band directors after Mr. Roz. We had Mr. Roz, the pervert predator, Mr. Kramer, the dork, I can't remember their names, and finally, Mr. Miller. I remember the summer when the replacement band director had not been hired yet. I had decided that the band should still participate in the 4th of July parade because that was tradition. I ran the rehearsals and organized the bus. Remember, Ernie Ponceloff owed me one, right? Being a snare drummer with a high stepper harness, I decided that the drums shouldn't be in the back of the band, but in the front, of course. And I had a whistle and my drum cadences and roll-offs all under control. The band students and parents were very supportive that we had taken this initiative on our own. So I had it hard, even in my profession of music. I went in 4 years of high school, I had 5 band directors. But that fact forced me to move on and take private lessons at UWGB. And from there, the rest is history. I would really like to thank everybody for having me here today. My family, my friends, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rennie. Our last honoree will be presented by Samantha Piter. Samantha is our class valedictorian and plans to attend the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire to major in healthcare management. Samantha was also recognized as Youth Volunteer of the Year. She will be accompanied by art students Ben Hodia and Roy Ross.
It is my honor today to introduce Dennis and Becky Trumbull, class of 1964, in the category of Emergency Service and Volunteerism. Dennis and Becky Trumbull are lifelong residents of the Southern Door County community. Through their work and their volunteerism, they have really made a difference in the lives of so many people. As their own children went through Southern Door, they were actively involved in school activities. There is a saying that a fireman's job is a noble calling. Their proudest moment is when they save a life. Dennis was with the fire department for 40 years. 18 of those years he used his leadership expertise in service as the department's chief. Our country today has far too many situations that have put our citizens' lives in danger. When that happens, it is our first responders, such as the EMTs, emergency medical technicians, that rush in to save the lives of others. The Trumballs have dedicated a large portion of their married life to the service as EMTs in their community. Dennis has served for 25 years, and Becky has served for 27 years. The Trumballs' community volunteerism shows no bounds. They are actively involved in their church community. Dennis served on the parish council, and Becky taught CCD classes. Working with children is something Becky loves to do. The school district could always count on her willingness to sub for support staff, even in the most difficult situations. They both volunteer with many civic organizations and help with the Lions Club with their Belgian Days activities. Nominated by Kathy Bossman, she said that, "If you ever need something, Dennis and Becky are the first ones there." For their life's work and to protect the health, safety, and welfare of citizens in our community, we are honored to welcome them as members of the class of 2013 in the Southern Door Alumni Hall of Fame.
I'm going to let Dennis do the talking.
Becky and I feel very honored to be part of this alumni celebration. We were born and raised and continue to live in this great community. Our 4 children and 2 of our granddaughters graduated from Southern Door High School, well prepared for college and the future. As a firefighter and fire chief, I was part of the student fire prevention program for many years. Being emergency medical technicians, Becky and I shared our knowledge through hands-on presentation with the students and responding to emergencies on the playground and other school activities. Attending school events and being able to give back to this community is our way of expressing gratitude for receiving a quality education from Southern Door High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Trumbull. Let's give all of our honorees one more round of applause. At this time, I would like to invite our superintendent, Mrs. Bickman, to the stage to offer a few closing remarks.
I'm going to make this really short because we've just had such wonderful inspiration from our honorees, the special guests who have come from far and wide to be here for them, you as the students, and also as the staff. You know, as educators, each one of us gets into this business because we want to make a difference in the life of a child. And when we can look back and see that these are just examples of the many lives that Southern Door staff have touched over the years, it's just beyond belief to think of how our world has been impacted by the education that's provided in this community. As young people in our community, you heard Mr. Bosley talk earlier about your journey. And the journey into your future is going to have thousands of miles. And for our seniors, it's going to begin with that baby step that we heard about earlier today in just a few days. Right now, some of you are very certain about where that journey is going to lead you. And for others, you're really keeping your options open. It's good to have an end to journey toward, but the most important part, it is the journey that matters in the end. So as you heard from our honorees, find your passion, but above all, be true to yourself. Marian Wright Edelman once wrote that education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. I challenge each and every one of you to be the best you can be and leave our world better than you found it. And someday, I expect 1, 2, or more of you to be back on this stage inspiring the children at that time. Thank you for all your attention.
Vickman. This morning has been a great tribute to our distinguished graduates. We thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules and in some cases for traveling so far to be with us today. We wish you the very best in the future and feel free to stop by and visit us whenever you want. Our jazz ensemble has just one more piece to close out our program. After that, honorees and guests may join Mr. Bosley, Mrs. Vickman, and the committee in the high school library for a reception. Students, please report back to 5-1 class or lunch. Thank you.
Not yet.